Yeah, let's now talk about extrude. So now let's create a sphere in the viewport. I'm going to raise my sphere up and reduce the subdivisions to like, I just say 10. Right now, extrude works by creating some set of faces from a selected face and moving it in the direction of their normals. Okay, what I mean by that is, if I'm to extrude a certain face, let's say this face for instance, what Maya will do is to take this face and create a selection of face and move them up in the direction of the face normals. Let's turn on the face normals first, then I'll go down to display polygons, turn on face normals. All right, see these short lines you have here? Let me increase the face normals size. Normal size. Yeah, so this is the normals of every face. All right, so if you can extrude an entire geometry in the object mode. You can extrude components of a geometry. All right, you can extrude a face, you can extrude a vertex, you can extrude an edge. Let's take extrusion of a face as a first example here. Let's select a certain face. Let's select this face. All right, what extrude will do is it will basically push a selection of faces in this direction. All right, which is the direction of the normals. All right, so if I go down to extrude, click this button up here, extrude, and increase the local Z, that the thickness, all right, or you use your local Z transmission, which basically when you move the extrusion distance manually, it records that as your local Z. All right, so thickness is just using these values here to move that extruded face, while the local Z is when you move the extruded face manually, it puts that value down there. So you could see that I've extruded this face in the direction of the normals. That's what extrude does. Then you have some settings like offset, okay, which basically scales the face in and out uniformly. Okay, uniformly I mean in both direction, okay, in the same value. So it scales the face in and out. That is the offset. Then the divisions you have here is, this is the extruded distance. Right, this is the extruded distance. So divisions, we add some subdivisions across that extruded distance. If I increase the subdivisions, right? If I increase that, you have the subdivision. Let me turn off my I should turn off my normals on the face, so I will see the extrusion distance very well. This is the extrusion distance. All right. So that is extrude. You could go back and change the extrude. Let's click on this, go down to channel box, you see extruded face. That's extrude the local Z, all right? And that's your offset, then that's your divisions. That's the thickness you have, all right? So you could apply extrusion tool to not just one single face like we did earlier, okay? You can apply extrusion to multiple faces. So let's say we grab more than one face. Let's grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's hit extrude, okay? So that I'll explain what this keep face together mean. If I extrude this, okay, let's say I want to offset them all the way. See, they extruded together as one. That is the meaning of keep face together that is turned on. If I turn this guy off, you see that it will extrude all the faces individually. Okay, so this guy extrude them together, extrude them. When it's turned off, it will extrude the faces individually. That's the meaning of keep face together, right? And that's just all the parameters you have in extrude. However, by the default extrude settings in Maya, you might have some other parameters that are hidden for us, right? They just hid some things like translate X, Y, Z, random, twist taper, reverse. If you check some of these things here, you might turn on some more parameters, all right? Like if you click on this, you could turn on taper, you could turn on other things that you might see, but the default Maya turns these things off so that you have those, all right? That is your extrude button or your extrude tool. Like I said earlier, that we can not only extrude a face, we can also extrude a vertex and an edge. Let's say, for instance, we have a plane in our viewport this way, and we want to extrude an edge, right? You just need to go to the edge component mode, click on an edge, hold down Shift. While you click and drag, you see that you have an extrude text written close to the cursor, or the mouse cursor. So when you click and drag, you see that you have a face created for you. When you click, drag, you have a face. You click, drag, you have a face. So whenever you see people modeling stuff by clicking and dragging on edges, right, they are just in a way extruding that edge. That is what they do. So you click, drag, okay, you click, drag, then you can even click and drag multiple selected edges together to create something. So let's say we have all of this, have this, right? Okay, so you see that one can actually click, drag on an edge to extrude it. That is the extrude function on edges. All right. So if you select an edge, you click, drag on it to create a face. Okay, over the edge that you've selected. That is how the extrude works. Then also you could select a vertex. For instance, if I select this, if I hit extrude on this, I'll have a vertex going on all the edges connected to that vertex. I have a vertex going this way, going this way, and I'll have this going this way, I'll have one going this way, I have one going down here, and I have one going down there. All right? That is how extrusion of vertices work, if you want to use that anyway. Okay, so let's show you that. So if I select a vertex and I go down to extrude, you see that I have this vertex extruded for us, and you will notice that the vertex has been moved along the vertex normals. All right, so we have 4 more vertices created that for us, and the original one was moved in direction of the vertex normals. So you could extrude vertices too, the same way you could extrude faces. You could hold down shift drag, click, shift drag to extrude the vertex. All right. But most commonly, when you see people trying to model objects, what they do is they use the extrusion on the edges that way. I also did explain combine. Okay, that combine adds stuff. But let's talk about bevel first. Let's create a box. Okay. Now, bevel works by it will basically the word is chamfer, to chamfer an edge, all right, or smoothing an edge, okay, an edge that is shared between 2 faces. This is what I mean. This edge is shared between this face and this face. If I turn on component ID, let's turn on let's say edge IDs. All right, this is edge number 1. All right, edge number 1. If I select edge number 1 and chamfer it, okay, it will basically get more edges from this selected edge. Let me turn on let me reset that value. Okay, this edge is shared between this face and this face. If I hit on bevel will just chamfer that edge across the faces. Okay, in essence, it will create an edge on this face going this direction, create an edge on this face going downwards, because these are the 2 faces that is sharing this particular edge here. All right, so that's what we'll have. Let's now go back and see the values. Fraction is the distance, okay, of bevel, right? That distance between your bevel is the fraction. How far away it does that. Now, if you want to add some more subdivisions here, we can conclude that with the parameter called segment. Add more segment to this. Okay, in this case, I'm adding 5. That means I'm counting 5 lanes from one side to the other. All right, or 4. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4. I add 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segments. All right. The depth is, in our case, is the bevel basically bumps out. If you look at it from this direction, all right, when we have 0 segments, you see this is flattered, right? So with bevel, can either bump out like this, okay, as positive, which is 1, or bumps inward this way, which is -1. Okay, that's what the depth does. Let's undo this. Let's get those values. So I'll show you what I did there. Okay, so if I grab this again and hit on bevel, let me show you that is the depth set to 1, it bumps out. It's set to -1, it bumps inwards this way. So +1 bumps out, -1. Do that. So if I do 0.5, for instance, remember you'd imagine that in a way you should just go straight up like this. So this is the depth of your extrusion, or of your bevel, not extrusion. Okay. Then the segment is the number of subdivisions you want to have there. All right, and that's it. So you could turn off this with your chamfer. Okay, if the chamfer turned off, it turns off the depth. So you're just creating lines on the side that you want to have your bevel control. So by turning on chamfer, that's why it turns off or turns on that bevel effect. So that is how just the bevel works. All right, we use this sometimes to add some smoothing to objects. If I want to add, let's say, make a box, all right, and I want the box to have some smooth edges, I'll just bevel the entire object itself. Right, if I hit bevel, reduce the fraction, this is segment, and I have this. Right, so now if you look at this box, you see it has smooth edges like that. That's what the bevel tool does. I also did explain your combine tool, which I will talk about in the video. Combine with connect. So hold on for more.